Walter John de la Mare was a British writer and novelist. Born in 1873 in Charlton, Kent, the son of Bank of England principal James Edward de la Mare and Lucy Sophia Browning. Educated at St Paul's Cathedral Choir School in London, he worked at the London offices of Standard Oil between 1890 and 1908. In 1899, he married Elfrida Inkpen, the pair having 4 children. In 1908, he received a civil list pension, allowing him to spend his time writing. In 1940, his wife was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, dying in 1943. He suffered from coronary thrombosis in 1947, and died of it in 1956. He is most remembered for his poetry and for children's fiction, chiefly for the 3 Mulla Mulgars. He also wrote many fantastic stories, his first collection being the 1923 The Riddle and Other Stories, which we shall be reviewing today. The book contains several stories very reminiscent of Robert Aikman, who was inspired by de la Mare. Often these tales have characters that don't really do much, and more often they will talk very strangely, many of them acting off even if they aren't supposed to give that impression. Indeed, when de la Mare has a person who isn't all there in Mr. Bean, she doesn't act much different than any of his protagonists. The Almond Tree is the story of how a boy's father appears to be having an affair, with the boy finding him dead in the snow in the end. The Count's courtship, as the character of the Count appearing in the first tale tried to woo the narrator's aunt, but because she is going blind she rejects him. The Looking Glass has a young girl expecting to see a fantastical bridegroom in the garden, but suddenly just sort of dies for no reason. Mr. Bean is the story of a boy's semi-unwanted friendship with an old lady in the house opposite who isn't all there. Seaton's Aunt is one of de la Mare's most well-regarded stories, of a man being drained of his life seemingly by a malicious aunt who can hear his every thought and who talks to spirits who haunt the house. The story reminds me of Eleanor Scott's The Old Lady, but this one never actually commits to confirming the nephew's paranoia, and the whole thing sort of fizzles out. The Three Friends has a man worried to his friend and the bar woman both have known for years about his fear that if he dies and goes to hell, it will be his current life going on forever, with no ability to ever change. Lispet, Lispet in Vain is a fanciful story, very Borgesian in how it revels in its anachronisms, about a fancy company controlled by 3 very inbred families, creating fantastical choice items for only the richest of buyers, supplying choice wares to kings and emperors, from the time of ancient Egypt to the royal ladies of the Romanov court. The Tree is a grim story of a fruit merchant coming to see his half-brother in his dirty hovel, for which he once loaned him £100, due to his half-brother's obsession with a strange tree in the garden. Out of the deep has Jimmy inherit his uncle's house, but he soon finds that when he pulls on the bell to summon the serving staff at night, something unexpected will heed his summons, something not quite human. The Riddle has 7 children go to live with their grandmother, who warns them about a huge trunk in the attic, and naturally all of them start playing with it, the thing seemingly eating them, without any evidence behind, until all of them are gone. A varied collection, which oscillates between Blackwood and Borges, and is then its own confusing bizarre self, where you feel so much more happens that you are simply not privy to.